Your Excellencies, honorable colleagues. It's a pleasure and honor for me that you accepted the invitation and are now participating in the presentation of the first results of our fact-finding mission, which is very important for me personally as the human rights defender and also for our office. Why? Because firstly, we were, of course, and have been monitoring the whole situation, the situation connected with insurance and protection of the rights of the forcibly displaced people. But besides that, it is very important for us to individualize and identify the vulnerable groups, because the government should have special policy and should have special mechanisms for ensuring the rights of these people. I mean, people who, for instance, suffered from different types of ill treatments, some other illegal activities, etc. So this is very important for the human rights defender in order to be able to present recommendations to the government of the Republic of Armenia in order to have special mechanisms while treating all those people. During the implementation of our fact-finding activities, as I mentioned, we were, of course, monitoring also the general situation with regard to the organization of the processes connected with forcibly displaced people. But I'm not going to speak about those issues because actually we were trying to solve all the issues on board, and we were trying to do that in cooperation with different state institutions. We were providing them different recommendations, and we are going to provide also different recommendations on how to improve the methodology of dealing with such cases. But nowadays, it is really important to have an opportunity for us to present recommendations on the other side of this big, very, very big problem. I mean, on the issues how the government and how other state institutions should treat with these people, in particular with the people who suffered from different types of ill treatment. I will speak about two main dimensions here, and I will try to be very brief in order to provide us an opportunity to have also a discussion in case we need it and in case we consider it necessary to have also discussions on many of these cases, on many of these individualized cases. But I will try to speak on two main dimensions. Firstly, and the first very important dimension here, because we should look at this situation from the angle of the whole picture, is the general situation with the blockade of the Lachin corridor. And of course, here we already had that violations of different fundamental human rights. We had that humanitarian crisis. I'm sure you all received also our reports, public statements, and also other different information which was sent to all the international stakeholders in order to present the situation. And of course, here we had lack of proper food, proper medical treatments, etc. And of course, all the fundamental human rights were violated. But this humanitarian crisis, it became a real humanitarian catastrophe starting from September 19 with the military intervention of Azerbaijan. And starting from this military intervention, we are facing different other cases which are again very important in revealing because of the fact that here we really need to have these individualized cases. Here we should have also the summary of the cases, again, in order to provide recommendations to the government of the Republic of Armenia. During all these processes, we have been operating in an emergency regime and we have been establishing different delegations. We were monitoring publicly available sources. We were also at the places of the registration. We were interviewing people. We were communicating with them directly, conducting on-site fact-finding activities, etc. And the information which will be provided here by me is the information which was gained through this methodology by the Human Rights Defenders Office. The number of the people who were interviewed by the Human Rights Defenders Office is more than 300, something 350 people, almost 350 people, who were interviewed by the Human Rights Defenders Office, and they were interviewed on different situations, on different issues connected with the protection of their rights. Of course, we were trying to understand what kind of mechanisms we are going to recommend to different state institutions, and here I'm going to speak on several groups of cases and several situations after which, or in the result of which, we now have this vulnerable group of people with whom we should work properly in order to ensure and protect their rights in a proper regime and mechanisms. The first very important issue about which I would like to speak here publicly is targeting the civilian objects and targeting civilians. Because here, actually, we have a situation when different civilian houses, vehicles, they were targeted during this military intervention. Also, medical infrastructures, medical objects, vital infrastructures, schools and kindergartens. And it was also shocking for us when we were in Goris registration center. We noticed a car which was actually in front of the registration center, and we noticed that this is a car which was targeted. We found the family and interviewed the family. And the result was that the car, this was a civilian car, and it was targeted in Stepanakert. And this family had no other way to come to Armenia than to use this car in order to come to Armenia, because I'm going, of course, to speak also about the general situation. But that was a very difficult situation, and they had to use that car in order to come to Armenia and to reach Goris. Actually, here you have the pictures of the targeted civilian objects, both cars, vehicles, different buildings, civilian buildings, even a kindergarten in Martuni. And of course, I'm not going to speak about particular statistics which we have, because I'm not the direct holder of this information, but for sure we have many killed people, we have many wounded people, and here we have also civilians. I mean, among the killed and wounded people, we have also civilians, which, from the viewpoint of the Human Rights Defenders Office, is also a very important point, because here we should work, if these are wounded people, with these wounded people. If these are the relatives of the killed people, of course we should work with the relatives of the killed people in order to be able to properly ensure the protection of rights and all the guarantees for their fundamental human rights in the Republic of Armenia. The most important feeling which I have had when I was communicating with these people, because I was also personally both in Goris and Vaik, when I was communicating with these people, my general feeling was that these people, they are really afraid of, and they are very, very scared. And this was the general atmosphere of scare, which was created also in Nagorno Karabakh. Actually, this atmosphere was created in Nagorno Karabakh by Azerbaijan. Again, I will highlight both the Lachin corridor blockade and also after that the military intervention, and all the events which took place there, about which I'm going to speak. And this is an information which was gained by us through the interviews which we held with the people. We personally, me and my staff, held with the people who forcibly displaced from Nagorno-Karabakh. All these people, they had psychological problems, and in particular children. When I was personally communicating with children, my general feeling was that they are all afraid of everything, and they are really scared. And the main causes, as told to us by different interviewees, was the Azerbaijani shelling, gunfire, armed incursions, and of course the sounds of UAVs. And of course they also suffered from verbal abuse, intimidation, and what is also very important, many old and also new videos started to be disseminated after September 19, or starting from this military intervention, depicting execution, torture, and other inhuman and degrading treatment of Armenians by Azerbaijani armed forces. And this was also a cause for a civilian panic. But what is maybe in some sense more important here is that they were announcing through loudspeakers and in Armenian. By the way, this was told to us by so many interviewees, that you should leave this settlement. That was in Armenian, and that was announced through loudspeakers, that this is not your territory, this is our territory, this is the territory of Azerbaijan, and as long as your heads are on you, leave this place. So this is, of course, something which creates that general atmosphere of scare for people. Moreover, people were telling us that they were also using verbal abuse at displaced persons, for instance, cursing at civilians, shouting, "Go, get lost, clean our land," etc., which was also creating an atmosphere of scare for those people. And after this, they were playing mugham music loudly, etc., just for creating again this general atmosphere. They were also, some people, they told us that they were performing salute of the grey wolves, etc., which is also from the viewpoint of the general situation, is a sign of creating that general atmosphere. The situation with children and the general situation maybe was the most emotional one for me personally, because when I was at Goris Regional Center, a child who entered the registration center, he lost his consciousness because of the fact that he did not have food for several days. And they were in the basement. They were from a village. Then they ran away. They were able to run away and reach Stepanakert. They were in the basement without no food, notwithstanding the other conditions, I mean, during the blockade. But anyway, starting from this military intervention, they were in the basement with no food. Again, they had no food also on their way to Armenia. And that way lasted for more than 40 hours. Actually, it is too long. It's a too long way, in particular when you are in this atmosphere of scare. And he had no food, and he lost consciousness. And it was really emotional, personally for me, when we understood what's going on. And we we tried to understand also and to reveal other such cases, and it was really shocking both for me and also for my office when we revealed that almost all the people, almost all the children, they suffered from malnutrition, but most of them are also hungry and have been without no food for so many days because of the fact that they were in the basements during that shelling, bombing, etc. And then they were on their way to Armenia, and it took them too long to come to Armenia, and some of them there were these vulnerable groups with no possibilities of food, etc. In addition to the fact that they also suffered from the blockade in general, because during the blockade, actually they had also almost no food or no medical treatments, etc. So some of the forcibly displaced people, including children, they even stayed in the open air because they ran away through the forests. I mean, people who did not live in Stepanakert, and they stayed in the open air, very often without no food and without other means of subsistence. And during actually all the private conversations, as I mentioned, we revealed cases of malnutrition, and the people, they were telling us that they were without medication for even chronic diseases for a long time. And I'm sure that maybe you are aware of also from public sources that deaths from stroke they happened on the way of these people to Armenia. So, by the way, this is again very emotional for me. This is the child who lost his consciousness when we were in Goris registration center, and we witnessed several other such cases. One of the displaced persons told us that they were a resident of Sarushan village, and that they ran away from the village with children under fire and walked through the forests all night just to reach another settlement, then to reach Stepanakert, to be able to reach Stepanakert. Physical threats by the Azerbaijani armed forces, especially in cases when they noticed the cross hanging in the car, happened, and we have interviewed some people who were telling about this to us. Sometimes we had several interviews who told us that their crosses, they were removed from the car if the Azerbaijani servicemen noticed the crosses. They were shouting, shouting, and using curses while interacting with displaced persons. And some of the interviewees told us that there were cases when they were asking men to go out from the car. They were not telling actually why, for what reason. Then an Azerbaijani was entering the car where the family, I mean, both the wife and also the children of these people were. And they were like driving the cars through the Hakkari Bridge, near the Hakkari Bridge. And this was really scareful for these people because they were afraid of everything with this atmosphere of scare, and they did not know what's going on and what will happen with them. We had actually, we have a case when on the way, the Azerbaijani servicemen, they did not allow pregnant women in labor to pass the checkpoint, and they offered to take the woman to Shushi hospital, but without her husband. And they had to return to Stepanakert. And the woman gave birth in Stepanakert, and she was transferred with the kid to the Republic of Armenia. As I mentioned, of course, there were different malnutrition cases, and it was really maybe one of the most emotional parts when we were there. If we speak about the Azerbaijani aggressive military intervention, I would like just to mention several points. This bombardment, it started at 1 p.m. When children were located in schools and kindergartens, and this is the reason that many families, they lost the links because I'm sure maybe you also noticed in different social media that sources that people, they were trying to find their children, they were trying to find their relatives, etc. And one of the reasons was that children were in schools, in kindergartens, and people just lost the links between each other. Yertahoch village school, it is in Shushi region, it was destroyed by the shelling, by the way. We were also receiving different calls and reports of children missing since September 19. And of course, children, they have suffered a lot, extensively, from not just from malnutrition, etc., but also from this emotional distress, because it was really emotional for them, and I can assure you that they were really afraid of everything when even we were trying to communicate with them. Here we even have some photos of children which were disseminated also through the open media sources. But I would like to speak also about a case when two children in the ambulance vehicle, they were killed. A person, displaced person, who was displaced from Haterk village during the private interview with the staff of the Human Rights Defender, told us that he noticed two children in Haterk village in the fields. He told us that he immediately instructed them to board the ambulance vehicle, which was nearby, and to go to the shelter in the village. Then he told us that he noticed that the ambulance was targeted and shelled from the Azerbaijani armed forces, and both children, they died on the spot. We had also an incident with a child. Again, we revealed this during our private interview. An 11-year-old child who has epilepsy experienced physical deterioration and fainted on the road. And there was no opportunity to provide the child with first aid, including medications, etc. And again, this interviewee and interviewees, because this was a family, they were also very afraid of, also because of the fact that they had this experience on the road to Armenia. We have also different missing persons cases, or have had different missing persons cases, and this was very common for the first days. Starting from September 19, we have been continuously receiving calls on finding those people, on finding the missing people, on creating links between these people, finding them and creating links. Of course, we were cooperating also with different international organizations in trying to help those people. But we even had an interview with a person who told us that the neighbor remained in Stepanakert just because of the fact that she lost her two daughters as a result of Azerbaijani shelling on September 19. She wasn't able to find them, and she told the neighbor that she was going to stay there till they find her daughters. Anyway, we are going also to reveal and find out what kind of situation do we have with this individual case. But anyway, this was also that general atmosphere which existed in that general situation. But of course, today I'm going to speak also about some cruel cases, because during our interviews, we were told by the interviewees that some of them told us that they witnessed some cases of violence. Some of them even explained those cases, etc. And that was the reason that I decided to officially write also to the corresponding bodies in the Republic of Armenia, who are also implementing some investigative activities, etc., just to understand which information can be considered reliable, which not, because we received a lot of information and we should understand what we can consider for ourselves and for our report to be reliable and what no. And here we have several cases of torture or mutilation. We have a body with an ear cut off, or several bodies. We have a child's body with the hand cut off and a wooden stick inserted instead of a hand in that place. We have also dismembered body parts, including heads and hands, and we have a mutilation of a woman's body. Actually, we have that pictures, but that very cruel scene. We will leave this for the end in case somebody wants to see also that pictures. We can organize also that, but we are not going to do that now because that's a really cruel scene. I was shocked myself when I saw that photos and pictures. So here we can just highlight that also in the frames of this military attack, we have also cases of torture or mutilation. And summarizing the above, actually I would like to highlight that all these activities, this whole policy, it was in the context of general Armenophobic policy, which is state-sponsored and implemented by Azerbaijan. This is not just a statement made by me. This is actually something which was stated also by different international monitoring bodies, for instance, concluding observations on the 10th to 12th periodic reports of Azerbaijan to the UN Committee on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, as well as the 6th monitoring reports of the European Commission against Racism and Intolerance on Azerbaijan, Armenia. So here we have also stated positions on the fact that Azerbaijan is implementing state-sponsored Armenophobic policy, which is really very, very dangerous. And the whole picture can be seen just through all these elements put together. And what is important from the viewpoint of this particular situation, I mean the situation started from September 19, is the fact that actually I was speaking about the family links because some people, they missed each other, they did not know where their relatives were, where their children were, etc. And they started to put the photos and also the telephone numbers of the missing people on Facebook or on other social media. And immediately, hate speech started to be disseminated by Azerbaijani social media users. I will ask my colleagues just this one. Actually, we have, of course, different monitored social media users, etc. But there were so many threats, in particular when these were girls or women or children. They were disseminating threats of sexual character, etc. For instance, this is translated from Russian. This is a lost person. Whoever finds them, rape them, cut them into pieces, give them to the dogs for dinner, etc. Or the other one, this was a photo of a girl, of a lady, young lady, sorry. So I knew that she's immoral, like all Armenian women. This is a comment from a user. Or another one, an Armenian, the result of interaction between a monkey and a donkey, either lost or dead. And these are all the photos of the lost, missing people, which were disseminated in social media. So, summarizing the above, I would like to highlight that actually these people, they of course love their homeland, and they would like to live in their homeland for sure. But the atmosphere which was created, I mean the atmosphere in the result of both the ill treatment cases, different types of ill treatment cases, etc., and the general Armenophobic policy, which is a state-sponsored one in Azerbaijan, it led to the situation where we have this ethnic cleansing policy and these people forcibly displaced from their homeland. So it is really very important now, in my opinion, also as the human rights defender, as a person who is not engaged in any political issue, territorial issue, etc., it is really very important to be able to protect the rights of these people and to show the whole world, the international community, that we are going to fight all these negative phenomena, and we are not going to have such precedents in the world anymore, because otherwise, of course, in case we do not fight this, we deal this as normal situation, etc., we are going to have many, many other precedents. But I'm not going to misuse your attention with any other detail, because we can speak about this endlessly. Again, thank you so much for joining us for the presentation of the first results of our fact-finding mission. As I mentioned, we are going to have also a public report, public in particular on those issues, but of course there can be also cases which will be non-public. I mean, in particular, the cases with regard to torture or mutilation. But anyway, we are going to share all this information with you, and in case there are any questions or maybe any comments or recommendations, I will be happy to answer them or to listen to them. And in case there are people who also want to see that photos, as I mentioned, that's a very cruel scene, so we are ready and we have these photos also for that. Thank you so much again.